Our solar system. Ever look up in the sky and wondered what was there? Higher than the birds, past us, and farther than the moon. A hole of fascinating objects in outer space. Imagine for a moment that we can leave Earth behind and explore the solar system surrounds it. The solar system because it is in the center, the sun, and solar have nothing to do with the sun. The sun is a star, just like many of the stars that you see in the night sky, just many times closer to us. Still, the sun is very, very far away from us, almost 93 million miles away. That's why it looks so small. It is the biggest object in the solar system. In fact, the sun makes up more than 90% of the mass of the solar system. If you put all the planets, moons, asteroids, and everything else in the solar system together, they would make up less than 1% of it. And it's more than 100 times wider than Earth. In more times, you could fit more than million Earths to it. More than that, the sun is what holds the solar system together. Its massive gravity keeps the Earth and all the other planets circling inside the drifting space. The sun is also allows to us Earth. Without the sun, there would be no heat, no light. Plants could not grow. Water would freeze. Nothing thrive. The sun gives us heat and light because it is always burning. It's a giant gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, and it burns millions of degrees in the center. The sun now to explore the planets. The sun. The first planet we enter is Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system, much smaller than Earth, and only 5 planets. See, Earth is nothing but your eyes, of course. Of course, it wouldn't look much planet. It looks like a bright star, and many nights you see it close to the sunrise and sunset. Not like a moon. It's small and has a rocky surface with craters on it. So no air to breathe. You probably wouldn't enjoy to Mercury. Winters are boiling hot in the sun and freezing cold in the shade. Something interesting about Mercury is that it's the fastest around the sun. It only took 88 days. It's the second planet. Some people call Venus Earth's sister because the two are very close to size and gravity, but they're very different on the surface. It's very hot. Venus is the hottest planet in the system. It's not as the sun as Mercury, but a thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide helps it to trap heat and stay warmer than its neighbor. It has a thick atmosphere, not one Mercury. It is mostly of carbon dioxide and there are clouds of sulfuric acid. Yes, fun to visit, but it's beautiful to look at. It's the second brightest in the night sky. The only thing brighter is the moon. If you are looking at the sunrise and suddenly notice like a very nice star, you probably got Venus. Earth, the third planet of the sun. Of course, you know all about Earth, not the planets. And it's called a Goldilocks. Because it's not too hot and not too cold. It's just right. And we know Earth is the only planet to have living things. And again, remove now and visit Mars, the fourth planet of the Mars is that known red planet because iron oxide, a material like rust in the soil, and reddish color. Mars is smaller than Venus and Earth, but larger than Earth. It is cold and rocky, with thin atmosphere made of carbon dioxide and oxygen. And Mars is very interesting in Mars. They think people could live there with some equipment. Rockets and probes are already being sent there and information about the planet. And now, two robots exploring Mars, sending information back to Earth. As the first planet we visit today, besides Earth and its one moons, it has they're not big and round like our moon. Mars moons are small and irregular. It captured asteroids. They came from the big asteroid belt in Mars and Jupiter. An asteroid belt is a big ring of asteroids, or rocky objects orbiting the Sun. Here comes next, the fifth planet in the solar system. Jupiter is the largest planet and something called a gas giant. It is called that because it is really big and full of gases. Jupiter is so big that we have to place 11 Earths end to end to try to cross its middle. Jupiter is also the third brightest object in the night sky. Only Venus and the Moon. You can usually find Jupiter higher in the sky than Venus, since Jupiter is from the Sun and not towards it. Actually, 67 moons circle around it, but 55 of them are very small, big as a mountain, or smaller. Some of the moons are very large, and at least all of them the same size as Mercury. One of its moons are just moons in the solar system. Some of the large moons can be seen from Earth, backyard, with a telescope. And Jupiter, because it is made of gas, there's no ground to land on. There's something terrible. Jupiter is covered by terrible storms, much stronger than only storms on Earth. One storm is seen from Earth, called it the Great Red Spot, because that's what it looks like, and it has been in 200 years. Saturn, another gas giant. Saturn is famous for its beautiful rings. Oh, it looks solid from the distance. The rings are actually made from many small ice particles, as well as rocks and dust. It has more than 16 moons orbiting around it, and as large as the planet Mercury. The thing about Saturn is even though it's very large, it is not very dense. That means if you could find a bathtub large enough to put Saturn in, it's filled instead of sink. And farthest planets that can be seen from Earth with the help of a telescope. After Saturn comes Uranus, the seventh planet from Sun. Uranus is a gas giant, smaller than Saturn and Jupiter. Unlike any other planet in the solar system, it's actually in sideways. Uranus has rings around it, although much smaller than Saturn's, and 27 known moons. Uranus is covered in blue clouds, methane, which gives it a lovely color. It's Neptune, the eighth planet. Neptune is another gas giant. It has methane on its atmosphere, so it's also blue. Neptune is darker blue than Uranus, and scientists aren't sure why. Neptune has a few thin rings, 13 moons that we know about. It's so far out in space